Okay, so let's take a look at how you can create firewall in Azure. So first thing, we will go to Azure portal and then we can click on create a resource. Alternatively, I can click on all services and then go for networking. Within networking, I can find the firewalls. Now there is one thing you should know. Firewalls you can keep for virtual network. So in that case you can either create a new virtual network or you can attach the firewall to existing network. Okay. So let's see, if I go to all services, then virtual networks, I already have one virtual network, right? So if there is none, then in that case we can create one in process. So let's go back again to all services, then firewalls, then click firewall and then proceed ahead. Now here we will click on free trial at subscription, choose the resource group. Now here, so I will name the firewall, then also check the region. So let's say I will choose my own region, right? There isn't any available zone, and if I want to check the prices, I will select the most basic one for the firewall SKU, because there will be a lot of price on standard and premium, so I will skip that. Now the policy also, I will choose the most basic policy, right? You can also add new. Here I can give it a name, my basic policy, right? Then policy tier that we have. Now here you have your virtual network, right? So I can create a new or use existing. As you can see, I don't have any existing, so I will just create a new. Here I will name my FW virtual network. So this is made for firewall. Then address space, I can give the default 10.0.0, right? And then 0.16, which is kind of typical address space, right? And then I will just copy this and end it with 24, right? So the amount of addresses covered will be listed. Then there is a public IP address space or to choose, so can be associated with this firewall, currently none. So we can add new. Here let's name this my pub IP adder, right? Click OK. That's it. Now we will go to subnet address space. Here you can see I will copy from the top, right? And it is overlaps with our earlier. So we have given a lot of options there. So let's go with say 25. It continues to have that issue, right? So what we can do is we can use earlier one as 25. Here we can use 24. Still it overlaps, so we may have to find a solution for that. Now after trying variety of combination, I came down to this address space. You can pause and go through this address space, right? So 10.21.00.16, which has certain range of addresses, and also the subnet that you can select here. You will notice the difference. Now the next step would be to choosing the tags, and I don't wish to categorize based on any tags or so, right? So I will just click on review and create. So first it will go through validation as usual, right? Once we see that everything is okay, we can click on create. Now you can use your firewall for variety of services, which includes using it for your virtual machine, right? So deployment is in progress and we will be able to see multiple things, like first virtual network. So we'll go there and also check that we have our firewall set there. We can also take a look at protection plan, which is DDoS. Let's see if we can add it after the creation. Right, so that's another thing. So let's wait for deployment to finish. So our firewall is being added. Right, so let's wait. Now let's go to the resource, and here you see our firewall is in action, and it is applied to our virtual network as well, which you can check out. There are a variety of operations you can do here for IP. Right, so here you see the IP address we get, public IP assigned to this particular firewall. Right, so we can extend further and check out. Right, we can also make changes. You can also add new IP here. So all the IPs that get added here would be getting the firewall. Then comes the firewall manager. Now here we will have to create some policies, add some rules, and then use them to apply to some of the resources, which includes your virtual networks, and in turn these will be used for your virtual machine. Right, so pretty much we are covered on firewall creation part. This is firewall manager. Let's take a look at one more thing, which is properties. Right, so these are some of the properties. In some of the application you may need to use your resource IDs and your subscription, so that's why it is given in properties. Now you can also take a look at access control, so you can limit the amount of people who can access your firewall. Right, for example, me as an administrator can access everything, but I can assign the roles. You can even check all the available roles you have within Microsoft Azure. Then comes role assignment, where you can see variety of people here who will be taking a look at that role and role assignment, and they will be able to access the firewall services. Right, so here you can see I'm the administrator offering the service. So we looked at our firewall, we looked at our access control, we looked at public IP configuration, we looked at firewall manager and properties too. Right, so these are some of the things that we looked at and now we can make use of. Right, so the thing is, we have virtual network to check. You just have to go there and check the virtual network that was created in the process. So here you see my virtual network, for which we can now see our firewall will be most probably active here, and I will also show you if we can configure the DDoS. So here you see Azure Firewall enabled, and you can even go back here for the range of IP address, so 10.21.04 and so on for your IP. Then comes your virtual network, and let's go to that part called DDoS protection. So here we take a look at option to add enable. So if we enable this, we will have to choose the plan. Right, so currently there isn't one, so you will manually have to create. Right, so it will take you to another page, let you add that DDoS plan, and then your firewall DDoS protection plan and virtual network would be ready to use for your virtual machine. So all of that would add up in cost, so do remember how much resources you will have to allocate to virtual machine, and when you're closing or stopping your virtual machine, then in that case you have to remember the dependent services that you have applied to that resource. Right, so all of this from the context of price. So I hope that you have got the idea how to create a firewall, how to manage it, how to set the range of those subnet IP address. You can pause and look back for that as well.